Huh, oh, wait. Oh, good morning, everybody. Is it Wednesday already? Oh, goodness gracious. The one good thing that has come out of all this mess out here, as far as Doctor Who goes, is the simple fact that I'm now looking at people go online, literally. Chibnall wasn't that bad. It's like, no, really? I've known that for years. It's just a lot of people bought into this bullshit that their television show, just because you had a female lead, was feeding you some hidden top secret messages, and that was all based off the rants of a bunch of misogynist weirdos. And trust me, I could be a misogynist, but these guys are in a whole nother league. I'm dying laughing now because every time there's a show, good or bad, if it has a lady at the front of it, it's woke. It's trying to strip men of their masculinity, blah, blah, blah. It's trying to, eliminate men from the story, blah, blah, blah. Now, I have to agree with you on Ahsoka, though, because when I watched Ahsoka the first time, I'm like, the only male I'm seeing on this expedition, other than the kid, is David Tennant, and he's a robot. But I don't know. I couldn't get into Ahsoka. I tried, but it wasn't my bag. But I'm not going to go online ranting about it every day like it's going to solve the war in the Middle East or whatever if I don't get it or I get it or whatever. But I grew up with, let me see, when I was a kid, we had Captain Marvel, when Captain Marvel and Shazam were all the same thing. Billy Bats would yell Shazam and become Captain Marvel. And then there was a whole rights thing, and now Shazam and Captain Marvel are two different people. Then there was Miss Marvel. I'm not kidding. The whole Marvel family tree is kind of screwed up. It really is. But at the same time, we had ISIS on TV with Captain Marvel. Then we had Xena Warrior Princess. We had, all kinds of different, hell, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, for crying the hell out loud. I'm not kidding. We had women as superheroes all over the damn place. And nobody was writing to the newspaper. And, but then again, you have to remember, in that era, it was before social media. That's one thing I loved about the TV series Fallout, is in that alternate reality, as far as we know, they had bloggers and that was about it. There was no social media. But now, every time a female character, I'm like, I grew up with one of the strongest characters in the Star Wars saga. Maybe they missed this, maybe their brain tuned it out, was Princess frickin' Leia. Come on, she was out there with the guys, slinging guns, shooting stormtroopers, and all that stuff. And yet nobody was pronouncing her some top secret attempt to de-ball Han Solo or whatever. And, she was secretly making appointments to get Chewbacca fixed. Nothing like that. It wasn't happening. Well, I'm not saying they're gone. I'm just saying I heard from one source that was one of the things Disney wanted, was RTD and Bad Wolf gone. And the problem is you can't have one without the other, because if you get rid of RTD, Bad Wolf's going to walk because of his longtime partnership with Julie Gardner, among the others who run Bad Wolf. And that would mean Disney would pretty much have control of the show, if that is the case, if that were true. Of course, thank you for reminding me. Ripley from Alien. She happened to be the lone survivor. She's out there fighting. Then you bring the Aliens, but look at Aliens. Alien was an ensemble cast. I didn't see anybody getting deballed by Ripley. It's like everybody was in it, But it just seems to me like, everybody's come up with this top secret hidden agenda. One thing I got sick and tired of hearing forever was third wave feminism, feminism, feminism. Like it was like, making me picture this whole line of women, wearing, like, brown shirt style uniforms, marching down the street in lockstep, shouting death to the penis or whatever. I don't know. It's just, Oh, that I can agree on. I think they wanted something a bit darker, and they aimed more Disney, as in kids. And Disney's been trying to get. Well, then again, Disney really hasn't caught the message. Like the problem with like the new TV series that they did, Willow. Willow was kind of there, and the problem is it used all the tropes. It was so predictable. That's what made it a bomb for me. I was like, okay, those two are going to get it on just so we can get some lesbian ratings. This, blah, blah. It's not that it wasn't the female characters are bad. It's just they were using all the tropes of the time. And it became predictable. I know this is going to happen, this is going to happen, because this has to happen, because it's become a formula that they can't escape. And it's like, is it teaching me some top secret and hidden message? No. It was just bad writing. And a lot of people have always, but I loved how the story changed with, the Chibnall Jody. Chibnall screwed it up. Jody can't act. Then it was, no, it's not Jody's fault. It was the writing. Then it was, and now it's always the writing was bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then we got to the RTD era, and oh my God. Did a lot of verdicts change overnight? Ugh. No, the thing is with Jane Trantner and all that, I think, this is my opinion now, this is not fact. I think they've already lost the Disney deal. And they know it. Because, as I told you before, whenever a series hits it off big, they don't wait till the end of the contract or whatever. Plus, I'm trying to remember when they ever said that all these shows and the spinoff had to air before they were going to get a decision. If I remember right, for a while, well, we have to wait for the first 2 seasons there, then we're going to have a decision. Now all of a sudden, no, we have to wait for the first 2 seasons there and the spinoff, which is just a part of the main show, before we get a decision on the main show. Which makes no damn sense whatsoever. Well, the thing I loved about Fallout is it had one of the things. When the trailers aired, I showed you in a video once that guy, they show Aaron Moten and they start screaming, diversity, diversity. It's like, does it matter? How many, black actors did you see on Fallout? And they were shouting and yelling about diversity. I'm like, no, you had pretty much 3 main stories, which blended together beautifully. Yeah, Lucy is pretty much the main character, Ella Purnell. A lot of people's like, how come she wouldn't take her jumper off in that one episode? I said, because then they'd have to have people cover up Ella's tattoos. That's how I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. Just like, it's a body double for certain scenes, like the gymnastics scene. Was she really doing that? No, because they would have had to cover up all Ella's tattoos for one. Oh, Willow's gone. They canceled it. It bombed, and it bombed hard. And it's like, for one, we knew they weren't going to have Mad Mardigan back, because remember, Val Kilmer was, really in a bad state at the time, and, he passed away, I believe, shortly after. Well, Walt Goggins, like I said, he's brilliant as the Ghoul, and I'm just wondering how much they're paying these guys now, because Lady G let me in on an interesting factoid that I think they only paid, great, I blanked out, Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. I think they only paid her like $200,000 for that entire series, the first one. The second one, they paid her $2 million. And by the time they get around to the third one, which will probably be 5 minutes after I'm dead, because, come on, look at it, how long it takes to put out a series now. Because you have to work around the actors and blah, blah, blah. That's, I wonder how much they're going to pay her for season 3, because there's going to be one. But yeah, Fallout nailed it, and they nailed it correctly, because they did really good story arcs. There was great writing. The characters were very well developed. The problem is, though, is I think we're not going to see Thaddeus as a super mutant. Oops, sorry. because he kind of spoiled that with his own Instagram photos. I'm beginning to wonder if they edited that out, because you did see a super mutant, by the way, but it was in episode 2, The Target, at the very beginning when they're rolling the gurney by Wilzig, and there's a hand sticking out. That was a super mutant. Okay, I thought you mentioned some of that. That's why I said, yeah, it was getting in our series. And also apparently there's now going to be an Uncle Fester spinoff. An Uncle Fester spinoff. So we'll have to see how that goes. Well, yeah. Emma Myers, is she the one that plays the weird rainbow happy one? Whatever. It's going to hit me in a minute what the character's name is, but oh well. Enid, that's what it is. I remember it's a peculiar name, so. Well, yeah, she's probably making more doing movies and all that, and I agree with you on that. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people see things on screen and they assume things are going on behind the scenes. It's like, that's why they're called actors. Okay? Don't just assume because a couple has chemistry on screen. It does happen every now and then, but no, in this case, like I said, it's why they're called actors, folks. Okay? They're meant to give you the illusion, of these characters. They're not, doesn't mean necessarily they're doing I ain't gonna go into it. Let's just say they're not practicing their scissoring, okay? And leave it at that. Ugh. Now I remember Enid because of the fact that she's so colorful, and Wednesday's like so monotone, monochrome. It'll be 2027, 2028 at the earliest. Oh, don't remind me, Mark. I didn't even want to talk about the salty romance. Oh, man. It's starting to sound like Splash with Unit thrown in. It really is. And that's what I'm hoping it isn't. But yeah, just because White caught their buddies doesn't mean they're giving each other the shocker, okay? Yeah, that's what I'm really hoping it isn't. Please do not tell me you took all this Disney money and remade Little Mermaid / Splash with White caught with some sci-fi thrown in. Don't do it. No. Oh. Wow, the trolls were strangely absent today. Well, whether we like it or not, Benjamin, we're getting a short break. Or it could be a long break. Like I said, I think there's negotiations going on and all that, but if it had been so star-spangled huge that, Disney had to have it, they would have already announced a renewal. And the fact they're trying this, they're waiting until after the spinoff. Yeah, that's the ticket. I could almost hear John Lovett's character from SNL back in the day when Jane Tratner, put out that statement. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah. I do not know why everything has to revolve around a love story. Yeah, it drives me insane sometimes. It's like, I wouldn't be, maybe they're going to rip off my story about the Hatoans. Now, if they'd done something like I did, yeah, if you want to go look it up, it's on the channel. For Those in Peril from the Sea was the name of the title, or the name of that little clip I made. It was about a planet called Hatoa, where, the people were dumping, waste, everything else in the ocean. Then one day, out of nowhere, came this whole march of these power armor suits with basically fish bowls in the middle of them. Because the denizens of the deep said, hell no, we've had enough of this shit. And then they basically conquered the land, they conquered all the land folks, the people on the surface. Like, no, thank you. I do not want a robot in my house. I have Lady G to tell me what to do, and that's enough. Oh well, great. They're gonna replace everything with robots, I guess. But oh well. I am way over time. I got to get inside. So please be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy your Wednesday. Literally and characterly, I guess. Oh well. And hopefully we'll see you all again tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Be kind, be calm, be safe. Have a great day.